Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been some time now since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and to be honest, a lot has happened, and we know a lot more now about the shooter than we did in the past. But before we get on to that, JD Vance gave an address where he said that as far as he was concerned, there was no unity with radical leftists being the parties or the individuals responsible for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. But you see, it wasn't just the shooting of Charlie Kirk that was problematic. It was actually the response to the shooting of Charlie Kirk that was problematic, because many individuals went online and celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, that all became very relevant because many individuals lost their jobs, and the right, for once, actually practiced cancel culture. In any case, you can actually watch what JD Vance had to say yourself right here.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
Now, in other news, Elon Musk said that he would be fronting money to create a documentary to remembering Charlie Kirk. Elon Musk says the documentary will be entitled A Life Remembered. So anyway, let's get into the main news, and that is, who is the assassin of Charlie Kirk, and what did he believe, and where did he come from? But before we do, can I yet again remind you, if you haven't already and you really like the content that I create, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and join the channel. So, as you know, Charlie Kirk, age 31, the conservative commentator and activist, was shot in the throat while addressing a crowd of students at Utah Valley University. Now, the accused assassin is Tyler James Robinson, a 22-year-old, a local student. Police say that he planned the killing in advance, leaving a note under his computer keyboard for his transgender partner, which says, "I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." After the attack, Robinson's partner asked him if he was responsible for the shooting, to which he responded, I'm sorry, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate cannot be negotiated with." Now, prosecutors say that this was a targeted political assassination, not a random act of violence. And there have been some individuals in typical fashion that goes, well, did he really do the shooting? Was he really the shooter? And individuals on the left are now trying to frame it that actually this must have been an assassination from the right, because according to news, Robinson's family was rather fractured. His father was described as a die-hard MAGA supporter, while Tyler himself grew increasingly left-wing and pro-LGBT and anti-fascist. Now, his mother admitted to prosecutors that he had become more political and started to focus on trans rights and gay rights after beginning a relationship with a transgender roommate. Now, this ideological shift reportedly caused tensions at home, with Robinson clashing with his father over politics and identity. Robinson's father being a rather religious individual. Now, in conversation with his parents, Robinson claimed that Kirk had spread too much hatred and there was too much evil in the guys. Now, investigators found multiple target practice boards riddled with bullets at his home residence, suggesting that he trained extensively before the attack. But as you know, well, it couldn't have been him because his father was right-wing and ergo he's right-wing and everything should be fine. Must be Israel then. At least that's what I'm told. Now, Robinson used his grandfather's rifle equipped with a $2,000 scope to shoot Charlie Kirk. Now, after the killing, he tried to sneak back to recover the weapon but feared police patrols nearby. Now, this was obviously an allusion to the fact that he had ditched the weapon in the forest, and he confessed to his partner on the telephone that I might have to abandon it with reference to the rifle and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Now, there was a reason he wanted to retrieve the firearm, because according to him, if he could retrieve the firearm, nobody would ever know it was him. Now, Robinson engraves bizarre messages and memes onto bullets, including subculture references like notices, bulge, OWO, what's this, and anti-fascist slogans such as hey fascist catch. So the bulge reference is an LGBT slogan, and the hey fascist catch slogan is an Antifa slogan, which suggests that the individual had been radicalized by Antifa or left-wing ideology. Now, he even joked in Texas that if Fox News ever broadcast the bullet engravings, he would have a stroke, so he actually thought it was rather funny. Now, police later confirmed Robinson's DNA was found on the rifle's trigger, alongside surveillance footage showing him walking across the campus awkwardly, consistent with hiding the weapon in his pants. And there has been a number of individuals asking the question of how was he able to sneak a rifle in? Well, according to the reports in the CCTV camera, he walked with a stiff leg, which suggests that he had rammed the rifle down the side of his leg and was walking with it like a peg leg in order to conceal the rifle. Now, after the killing, Robinson first admitted his role to his transgender partner and later to his parents. His mother recognized him from news reports. In one chilling message to his roommate, Robinson wrote, "If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence and therefore he'll get away with it." He said that he had hoped to go to his death with nobody ever knowing that he had done it. Now, a retired deputy sheriff who was a family friend persuaded Robinson to surrender to the authorities, and prosecutors have now charged him with aggravated murder, felony firearm discharge, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and committing violent crime in the presence of children. Obviously, Charlie Kirk's family watched him die. Now, before Robinson was identified, police wrongly arrested a 71-year-old George Zinn. Now, Zinn shouted at the scene that he was the shooter, which allowed the real killer to escape, and police detained him but later found that he was lying. Disturbingly, Zinn admitted that he possessed child abuse images on his phone. Investigators found over 20 indecent pictures of children aged between 5 and 12, but suggested that there was no evidence that he had colluded with Robinson. Now, Zinn bizarrely claimed that he wanted to be a martyr by taking credit for the killing, even though he wasn't involved. I mean, these leftists really have a screw loose. Now, the FBI Underdirector Kash Patel is now under fire for mishandling the case. Patel prematurely announced a suspect was in custody, only to backtrack hours later. The Bureau took a victory lap despite failing to catch Robinson themselves, with Robinson himself later being turned in by his father. So let us be clear, the FBI didn't actually find this guy. The father turned him in. So the police, law enforcement were completely useless, and had it been limited to solely their involvement, it is suggested that, to be frank, he might actually never have been caught. Now, Patel faces a brutal Senate hearing. Democrats are accusing him of incompetence, botching the investigation, and spreading false information. Republicans grilled him on Antifa, left-wing violence, and FBI bias, whilst Senators Brooker and Patel shouted over each other, while Chuck Grassley banged his gavel in vain, trying to calm the individuals who were screaming at each other. So for those of you who think that this only occurs in South Africa, well, you really should see what's going on in the US. Now, the FBI has also faced criticism for downplaying Robinson's Discord activity, which allegedly included dozens of users who may have been aware of his plans. Now, in recent times, we are seeing that Discord is the preferred method where this extremist ideology is communicated between individuals. So one has to ask the question of whether Discord, or the company that owns Discord, will itself be subject to some form of regulation. You can let me know what you think of that in the comment section below. Now, as you know, Donald Trump called the killing a horrible tragedy and promised action against political violence and confirmed that he would attend Kirk's funeral. Now, the Pennsylvania governor, Josh Shapiro, said America must turn the tide against political violence and condemned leaders who only denounce violence when it comes from the opposite side. And this is the suggestion that the Democrats keep labeling the Republicans as fascist and how they should all be exterminated because they're all Nazis. And this type of rhetoric doesn't actually calm tensions, it escalates tensions. Now, the White House, led by the Attorney General Pam and many Trump allies, declared that hate speech is not protected and vowed to dismantle radical left-wing groups, linking them directly to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Meanwhile, Hollywood, still being Hollywood and wanting to virtue signal, well, we've now had the latest virtue signal, this time in the case of Jamie Lee Curtis, who, in a surreal cultural moment, cried at an interview, accidentally calling him Charlie Christ, and you can't even get the name right, and comparing Christ to Jesus Christ, saying that while she disagreed with him politically, she still respected him as a father and a man of faith. And to that, all I can say is, ladies and gentlemen, we need to stop asking actors what they think of these issues. Because let's be honest, many of these actors are retarded. They are not smart people. Just because they can act in a film doesn't mean they've got a brain cell. In any case, what we are seeing following the death of Charlie Kirk is the number of individuals stepping forward who are sharing their stories of how Charlie Kirk affected their life. As an example, one lady said that she went to church today for the first time in 20 years. She says that she's raising 3 boys that will one day meet men, and she wants those boys to be as strong in their convictions as Charlie Kirk was. She says it's because of Charlie Kirk that she went to church today. In fact, you can watch that address right here.
We went to church today. It was the first time in 20 years for me and Devin. It was the first time for our children. After the events of the last week, Devin and I had a lot of talking that was happening between us about the type of life that we want for ourselves and how we want our boys to be. You know, we talk about Charlie Kirk. We talk about a man of God who was not afraid to stand in his convictions in anything. And we are raising 3 boys that will one day be men. And we want those boys to be as strong in their convictions as Charlie Kirk was. And we realized we had been doing a great disservice by not taking them to church and introducing them to faith up until this point. It is because of Charlie Kirk that we went to church today. We got online and we found one that we thought would be a good first try. You know, some of them are hit or miss, so we didn't know if we would like this one or not. We went in and everybody was so warm and welcoming, which was great. Before the service, they led a prayer for Charlie Kirk and for our nation. That one got me. The message today in the service was centered around forgiveness. And I know that a lot of us are trying to find our way there. And so it was a very powerful message to hear today. And here's to new beginnings. I hope that those of you who went to church for the first time today, I hope that those of you who are buying Bibles for the first time, I hope that those of you who, like us, are returning to church, I hope this journey doesn't stop for you. And we are making it a mission for us and our family.
But that individual wasn't alone. In another video, a man said that he had had what he described as the Charlie effect. He said that he had never owned a suit, he had never believed in God, and now he's going to church to wear his suit, and it was all because of Charlie. He says he wants to be a better father, a husband, and a leader for his family. And you can watch that video right here.
You know, I don't come from any kind of money, and I've never owned a suit before. My wife, she bought me this suit. Our anniversary's coming up, and we have a nice anniversary plan. You know, we make a little bit of money now, and I'm proud to say that, because that's certainly not where either one of us comes from. And I feel good in this suit, man. And I just want my wife to know she made me feel good. It's a $300 suit. I ain't never had nothing like this before in my life. And I tell you what, okay, video flip here, so I'm gonna lose some of you. I didn't know Charlie Kirk, never met that guy before in my life. And something else that I've never done before in my life is believe in God. I'm gonna wear this suit to church. I'm gonna go to church. I'm going to try to be a better father, husband, and leader for my family. They deserve that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the latest update on Charlie Kirk. Do let me know what you think of all of this in the comment section below. Until next time, bye.